Awesome. Let's get into it. How you doing?
Yeah, well, not bad. Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, I
Nice to
know.
see your face. I mean, I'd rather not, but it's good to see it.
Yeah, it's nice to see you repping Brighton Uni for a change.
Look,
Yes,
together. I
yes,
mean, for people who
boys.
can't see us, we're both wearing pretty much the same jumper from
Exactly.
uni.
Yeah, we're matching. I've never. I wear this pretty much all the time, so it's like it's pretty normal for me. But I never see you repping Brighton, so it's a bit weird.
Yeah, I went for a long walk today, and with the weather being British, I thought I don't know what to wear. I'm going to wear a jumper, but it's like
Mm.
waterproof, so I was kind of ready for both cases. But anyway,
Yeah.
um, So over the last few days, it's been absolutely mayhem in the world of
Mm,
football.
it has.
You've got Harry Maguire beating up some Greek people. You've had Lionel Messi leaving or wanting to leave Barcelona, and you've had just so many transfer rumours. For me, being a Chelsea fan, we've signed like
Mm.
four players over the last 4 days. It's just been insane.
Mate, it's mental. So who have you signed? You've got Thiago Silva. That's one.
Yeah, so we've got Ben Chilwell, left back from Leicester.
How was he?
We,
Well, he must have been pretty good to have got for Chelsea to have once signed him.
yeah, I don't know. I it's very mixed at the moment because, of course, Leicester have gone 50 million for him, which is great
Mm.
money. However, he's signing for Chelsea. I don't want to slag him off before he's already played any game, but I'm just very dubious if he was the best value for money player that we could have gone. Of course, we could have gone out and gone the Ajax left back, which is called Tagliafico. He would have cost us probably half the price, but he is also a little bit older and he's not English, so he might not have bonded into the team as easily. Whereas you've got Ben Chilwell, who knows half the Chelsea squad already anyway, because he's played with them before. And I don't know. I just, at the moment, I want to trust the Lampard project. And before it starts going wrong, I don't want to be saying that he's doing a shit job because I just don't know. He's got Ziyech, he's got Werner, um, Havertz is still yet to come in. So I don't know. We're going to have 5 or 6 different players
Mm.
potentially in the starting team. So it's exciting times.
Yeah, it's going to be a completely new team, and you still need to find a goalkeeper, I think, right?
Yeah, well, they're just saying now that not a lot of teams can actually afford Kepa. So what they're going to do is they're going to try and get Donnarumma, which is a really young Italian goalkeeper from AC Milan,
Mm.
into Chelsea. But they'll do an option to loan out Kepa there, and then with that option
Right.
to sell him basically a year after that. So when things settle down, I'm assuming with COVID and things like that, finances would be a little bit um, more foreseeable to predict rather than at the moment. No one really knows what's going to be going on.
Isn't that AC Milan goalkeeper? Isn't he the kid that made his debut at like 16? And he's
Yeah.
like,
He's played for Italy like insane amount of times, and he's only 21.
right, okay. Because I,
So he's like 6'6". He's massive,
mm,
and I mean, I don't know. With what Kepa's been like, he's just been a stick between the two other sticks, hasn't he? So he hasn't really been moving. I mean, looking at the stats and all that, and I think Lampard kind of is quite eager to get him out. But from what I've been reading and what I've been researching, I think Marina Granovskova and Petacek have been trying to persuade Lampard to give Kepa another chance. But Lampard probably feels the pressure from Roman Abramovich,
mm,
where he knows that now he's being able to make all these signings, Abramovich will want results in for that. So Lampard, of course, probably knows that you got to have a decent defence to be able to get results. And when your goalkeeper doesn't move for like 40% of the shots that he's faced,
mm.
it, it kind of tells a story in itself there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that kid. I can't remember how to pronounce his name. How he would transition to playing in the Premier League, because obviously the Italian league is so much less physical and it's a lot slower than the
Yeah, but then
Premier
again,
League.
he's a goalkeeper. So at the end of the day, a
Mm.
goalkeeper's a goalkeeper position, isn't it? For any league, you're always going to be facing shots, and
Yeah,
style might be a bit different. Where long ball might be a bit different from, I don't know, say the Brazilian league, for example, where they
yeah.
wouldn't play at such different football, but it's still at the end of the day, I think it's very marginal for a goalkeeper. If you're a midfielder going from one league to another, yeah, I see that. Goalkeeper, I think the margins are so much less, where you're still going to be facing shots on goal. And to be honest, if you move and you make a few saves, you're already a better keeper than what we've got.
Exactly, yeah, you're better than just a stick in the ground, basically.
Yeah.
The only difference I can really see it having is on set pieces on corners, because the
Yes, yeah, that's another stat. Yeah.
The rest of the time, you'll still be facing shots and all that. So
Yeah, another stat from Kepa that he's not actually come out to any of the free kicks or corners that Chelsea have faced. So it's just showing your ground, isn't it? When you're a goalkeeper, you will rush out. I'm not saying, every single one of them, because you've got to have some judgment. But as a goalkeeper, you kind of show your stance that you're there. You will rush out and punch it out every so often if it's close enough to you and you can reach it. But of course, Kepa not being a 6'5" goalkeeper, he probably doesn't feel too comfortable doing that. So being like I don't know what, 6'1", 6'2", a relatively short keeper, I would probably say, in today's football game, he probably doesn't feel too comfortable with that. And I don't know if Sarri and his recruitment team back when they got him didn't see that or what went wrong there, but paying 70 million for a goalkeeper and then having the result that that's coming out now is just insane. It's like with a striker, again, it's that argument where the league is different and your confidence might be rocked a little bit, but you're always going to have class. Whereas with a goalkeeper, it's a bit different because you're a hero when you do something good. But if you concede things, you're almost like expected to a certain extent. But he's gone to the point that he's doing a lot worse than just conceding now.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also, how old is Kepa?
He's about 26, I think, 25. So he's not old for a goalkeeper. He's got a few years ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, if he stays at a higher level, he could be there for another 10 years if he wanted to. Because Buffon played until he was around the age of 40. Casillas is fairly old as well. So
I mean, Buffon's still playing.
Exactly, yeah. I keep forgetting that he still plays. Like, he's that fucking old. I genuinely thought Buffon had retired. But the reason why I asked that was because I thought maybe if it was because Kepa was a bit younger and he wasn't as confident in doing that yet. But by the age of 25, 26, you'd expect to have the idea of being a presence in the box. You'd expect that to be down by that point.
Yeah, I've read a few articles saying that he's had quite a few things going on in his personal life, so it's affected him on the pitch. So, of course, a really sad story, and it's a real shame that things do go off track and it kind of affects your professional game. But at the end of the day, no matter if you're an employee at an office or if you're an elite athlete, you're still obliged to professional commitments. So those professional commitments shouldn't really be affected by your personal life, which is not really sounding very humane, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, I think.
It's very harsh, and especially in professional football where it's so cutthroat. Like I very briefly got the chance to work in a League One football club, and the talk that they would give to the academy players is, look, at some point you're going to be fighting against your teammate for another job to play somewhere else. So just have that in your mind constantly. They would say this to young academy footballers, and at a certain point you've got to, especially when there's so much money on the line, you've got to they're going to have to be a bit more cutthroat, which is why it seems that Lampard is moving this way and completely overhauling the Chelsea team, because it's almost half the team's going to be completely different next year, and Kepa's no exception to that, really.
Yeah, and it's just covering his back, isn't it? So he stays in the job, and that's what basically life is. You do what's best for you, and that's where, that's where I think football clubs tend to, especially the bigger football clubs, tend to thrive under having these players coming in and doing so much better, whereas the smaller football clubs are actually having to go out there and look at statistics and data and evaluate if that player is the right for them, and if it is, they bring them in for cheap and then they go and sell them on for a lot of money to a big club. So the structure of it is very different, because a smaller club can take a risk, whereas a bigger club, they can take a risk, don't get me wrong, but when there is the qualification for the Champions League, where that's such a big financial implication on it, is on the line, a manager isn't going to take a risk, and he's going to say, well, I'm going to mitigate the risk as much as I can and go and spend 50 million before I lose out on 50 million by not qualifying.
Yeah. Who else are Chelsea looking to sign at the moment? Because you've already got Thiago Silva. Actually, ignore that last question. How do you think it will go with Thiago Silva at Chelsea?
I honestly, when I first heard it, you knew about it first. When I first heard of it, we were watching the Champions League final, and the commentator saying, "Oh, he's in talks with Chelsea," and I kind of went, "Why would Lampard be wanting to buy a 35-year-old who doesn't speak any English and isn't proven in the Premier League?" I then, 3 days later, said to you, "Actually, I
You came around to it.
Yeah, I was very wrong, and I kind of looked at it in a way of, our defence has been awful.
Yeah.
He is a leader. He might not speak English, but he has got so much experience where he's gone off and played, be it in France for the last however many years, but he played in Italy beforehand, he played in Brazil, and he has got so much experience where at the back line where they're not as confident from what it seems like, we need a leader. Where we've had John Terry play there, we've had Gary Cahill play there, we've got Azpilicueta, but he's not really a solid centre back. He's a right wing back or left wing back. So you look at those positions.
Injured as well.
Who's Thiago Silva?
Azpilicueta.
Is it?
He hurt himself in the FA Cup final, didn't he?
Oh no, he's back on. He played on the friendly against Brighton yesterday. Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was long term.
No, it was Pulisic that's longer term.
Oh yeah. Okay, sorry, you were saying.
So I think we need some stability in the back, where he's going to be signing him for a year, and then there's an option for another year after that, where we don't need any longer than that, because you would think after a year, all these youngsters will learn from him and will actually take that chance to be like, right, I'm going to take his position because I want to play rather than sit on the bench, and I'm going to do what he's doing. So the coach looks at me and says, yeah, I want to go for him.
Or by that point, there'll be a better option in the market, in the transfer market. So, if it doesn't work out with the Chelsea youth team, in spite of the wealth of talent that you guys are hoarding, you could potentially bring somebody in, but I know that's probably not ideal.
We say that. He's brought in 2 young centre-backs as well. What's his name? Malang Sarr from Nice. He was brought in on a free, and he's brought in that Xavier Mbuyamba or something like that from Barcelona. They're both 18, or like Xavier is 18 and Malang Sarr is 21, and they're both solid centre backs, like real big solid centre backs at the young age they are. So I think even when we look at a year or two down the line, where they're 99% of the chance that they're going to be loaned out, where they come back in, they'll be in the shoes to step in for someone more experienced who's just left the team, where the space has opened up, where someone's moved up to Thiago Silva's spot, like Zuma or Christensen or whoever it is that Lampard's going to actually be able to solidify in that role. And then that youngster is going to be able to be this substitute on the bench, come off and learn the trade that way. I don't know. As I said, I trust in Lampard project. I hope he knows what he's doing. We'll find out the next year, because I don't think he's got any more excuses now. He can sign players.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, whether you guys can kick on and challenge for the title, or push on in the Champions League as well, and not get your ass handed to you by Bayern Munich.
Well, I was just going to say, with all these signings, I don't think we're the only ones who are signing. Liverpool have signed 1 or 2 players, but they seem to be quite comfortable anyway. And I think they'll still be up there first, second, third at the end of the year. You look at second place. Well, the question is who's going to have this player called Lionel Messi that we've been raving about for the last few days?
Mate,
if Man City get him,
transition. I love that.
if Man City get him,
Mm.
um,
I said this to a friend of mine. If Man City get Lionel Messi, it will ruin football because they're hoarding all this talent already, and they've already in the last year they didn't win, but they're still way up there. They're ruining it through just flouting financial fair play. They've somehow got to be able to find an extra million a week to pay Messi on top of having already broken financial fair play rules. And also, don't forget the other um, bonuses that he gets paid for his image rights. That's the one that really sticks in my mind because that was an extra 10 million a year just on his image rights. So how the hell they're going to be able to pay him for all of this? But then when you consider that they'll probably get an uptick in revenue, that may balance it out. But regardless, I really worry about where the direction that this could take football.
I mean, I don't know if you've heard about the news, but they've been saying that, Messi's going to go for free. Well, that's been cleared up. That in his contract, he can't go for free. Barcelona will not let him go for free because that clause expired. So his release clause is 700 million, which no football club's going to be able to afford. Like, doesn't matter if you're Man City or PSG and suddenly appear to have 1 billion sponsorship money from the company that your owner owns, but even there where you're saying where this is going to go, football's already gone that way. PSG are state sponsored by Qatar. Man City are sponsoring UEFA to do whatever they want to do. So you've got these clubs where they're not really giving a shit about financial fair play because it's such a shoddy piece of guidelines or fair play rules, whatever you want to call it. No one's following it from what we've seen in the last few months. Why wouldn't Man City, if they can get Messi for free, be able to afford $1 million a week? I mean, at the end of the day, what's $1 million a week for them? 52 million. That's a half decent player to buy.
But then you're right that they would still have to spend a shit ton of money to get him in the first place. So, and also if they actually are able to win the Champions League this year, that would represent a significant uptick in revenue. I just love the idea that Man City signed Messi and then all of a sudden they still can't win Champions League.
As I've said, I've got nothing against Guardiola. I think he's a really good coach, but he's not a coach that will be able to bring up Bournemouth from the Championship up to the Premier League. He's a coach that has gone to Barcelona, and be it he's had a very good bunch of players to coach. And this is why I'm saying he's a good coach, but he's also had a lot of money to spend. So where he had Messi, he's gone and used it, won the Champions League, he's gone to Bayern Munich, spent a load of money, didn't work out, came to Man City, spent even more money, not really working out to why he's come here. And Liverpool, I think, are going to be just as strong next year. You're going to have Chelsea in competition for Man City. You're going to have Man United in competition. Man United. You're going to have Arsenal. You've got all these different teams which are going to be strengthening. And Man City, if they buy Messi, I think, I'm not saying he's not a good footballer. I'm just saying that he's past it from what he was 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah, and given the fact that he is a little bit past it, would it make sense for him to be in the Premier League? Because it's probably the most physical league out there. Is that fair to say?
From kind of what I've seen players saying, give feedback on, they say that in England the players have their legs battered, and that's not to say that he hasn't scored against English teams already, because he has. But it's the question of, can he do it week in, week out, rather than every so often in the Champions League, where he hasn't played against a team in Spain that are not very good, and they've gone and beat them like 6-0. But even then, saying that, I don't think Barcelona have been beating teams by that margin for a while now.
Yeah, I mean they got smashed by that same margin against Bayern with Coutinho, a player that they loaned to Bayern after buying him from Liverpool for 150 million.
Yeah, a bit of a shit house, but it's that situation that it's weird because domestically a player can't face your own team,
Yeah.
but in Europe, it's fine. Yeah, just let him play and just sums up UEFA really.
It's crazy that they couldn't write that into the contract or whatever. That they couldn't say, Coutinho can't play against us, which I just think's mad.
Yeah, well, I don't know why contracts don't say that, but I'm assuming it's that they think that it's very little chance of it happening. So they probably just say, screw it, it doesn't matter. We could not need him for the year anyway. Probably won't happen. Just let him play. But no, Coutinho's left Liverpool to go win the Champions League, and was it a year ago? Liverpool fans were saying, "Oh, he's left to Barcelona to win the Champions League." Well, he's done it. So
he has.
Or not complaining, the whinging about how great Liverpool is from Liverpool fans. I've gotten them.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's done it indirectly, and not quite in the way that you were expecting it to happen. Now, it's been quite sad for me, like listening to you talk about all the transfer news that Chelsea's done and everything, and I'm sat here as a West Ham fan, hoping and praying that Declan Rice doesn't leave us and that we can actually, I don't know, sign a striker that scores. Maybe that would be nice.
Tell you what, if you tell Moisey to sell Declan Rice to Chelsea, we'll give you like Batshuayi and Barkley.
Oh God! So you now negotiate for Chelsea, do you?
Yeah, I'm the chief negotiator. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that whole Petr Cech thing, that was just a bit of a.
Petr Cech is my assistant, so yeah, I'll tell him to pipe down a little bit, and we'll get on the Declan deal.
Yeah, get back to the ice hockey, mate. You have your fun. I'll sit down and I'll negotiate a deal with Moisey here.
Yeah, I just need to negotiate my salary with Chelsea on this.
We'll give you a season ticket that is worth thousands because we jack up the price deliberately.
I'll take a season ticket, considering I'll probably be the only person in the stadium.
That's true,
I could see Messi. You don't know.
Exactly. If you guys sign Messi, since you've been hoarding all this cash for so long,
I don't know if
unlikely.
I don't know if I want Messi. It'll be exciting. Don't get me wrong. It'll be flipping mental having Lionel Messi at Chelsea. I just don't think that that's the direction that we want to be heading towards, signing a 33-year-old who's going to be earning a shitload of money when we're trying to bring up this really young team through for the next few generations to change the culture in the club. I don't know. He might be really good, like you said. He might bring in so much revenue where it might be worth it. So it's like, do we take a step back in the wings and let an old player come in, or do we just bring through these youngsters and let them flourish and do their own thing?
Yeah, especially since that seemed to work pretty well for you last season. So why stop, I guess? Obviously, you want to add to it, which you're doing, and plug those gaps. But yeah,
It'll be a massive FU to Arsenal fans though, where they were raving about getting Willian, and we'll just be like, oh yeah, we just got Messi to replace him.
I can't believe they're raving about getting Willian.
Yeah, he's a decent player. He's just not a player that I think I would want to sign if you were trying to win the league, and what apparently Arsenal are trying to do when they're finishing 9th in the league the previous season.
Or at least getting into the Champions League, eh?
Did you not hear what Willian said in his first interview that Arteta persuaded him to sign? So he said in the first year he wants to get into the Champions League. By the 3rd year of his contract, he wants to be winning the Champions League. I'm trying to keep your strong face.
That just sounded like a balloon that was deflating. But yeah, like their hopes rapidly deflating.
As a Chelsea fan, I've been loving it because Arsenal are just one of those clubs where they just rave about how great they were. And like Liverpool, they just used to rave how great they were, but Liverpool just rave how great they are now, which is even more painful.
Yeah.
And it's non-stop. But at least with Arsenal, they know that their time kind of went when Thierry Henry left, and that was pretty much it for them. There was only really FA Cups that lets them win great trophies.
And the fourth place trophy, don't forget. That was very
They haven't
important.
even been getting that over the last few years.
Exactly. That's been devastating for them. No.
Yeah.
What do you think? Okay. Harry Maguire.
So
I'll leave it at that.
he's been found guilty, but
He
he's had a suspended prison sentence, which means basically, oh yeah, get back to your normal daily life because you're a high-profile person. We're not going to do shit about it.
Well, now they're also appealing it, and that's going to be backed up for they reckon about a year or so, the appeal. So he's basically been given the ability to live without a criminal conviction over his head for a while, and that's meant that I think for the moment he's still the Man United captain, and he's chosen to withdraw from the England squad. So they didn't get rid of him; he chose to leave, which I think is really interesting. Although I reckon they gave him the option of saying, you know, you can choose to leave and we'll get someone in to replace you to save face, or we'll get rid of you and you'll look even more like a bellend after trying to bribe people and ask the police, do you know who I am? Which is what he apparently said to them. So he hasn't come out good from this at all. It's what I'm trying to say.
Well, I think you were the person who said this to me, and I think what you said was very, very truthful and very, very to the point, where you said people have short memories. So in a few months' time, we'll forget about it and we'll say, oh, didn't Harry Maguire do something? And it'll very much be forgotten about. Just like, I don't know if you remember, Ronaldo had allegations against him that he raped a woman. That was very quickly forgotten about, and I'm sure you would have heard about it, but your face tells me that you don't remember.
No, I never knew about that.
Well, it was all over the news, and everyone's saying, oh, Ronaldo's got this woman who's allegedly saying that he's raped her and all that, and he was saying, oh, it never happened. Anyway.
When did it supposedly happen?
In 2009, I think, when he just signed for Real Madrid. And he was in America, but I don't know what the outcome was. I don't know if well, I'm assuming he was found not guilty because he's just gone on with his life and it's perfectly fine. But point being, no one's really batted an eye on it. Whereas you've had instances like, I'm trying to think.
In non-football worlds, you've got Kobe, who was also accused of rape, and then he paid a settlement to make it go away. So there's another example of that. No one really remembered that until after he passed away. And a more recent example in England, in cricket, is Ben Stokes. So Ben Stokes, he committed assault outside a nightclub in, I think, 2018. And then the following year, we had the Ashes, which is the big test series, England against Australia, and that's a massive historical series played every year. He had a couple of really good tests where he kept us in it, and if it wasn't for him, it would have been a complete wipeout. He kept us in it, and then as a result, he was voted Sports Personality of the Year a year after being convicted of assault, being kicked off the England team, and then after the conviction, because I'm pretty sure they appealed it and it was upheld. After that was upheld, he was then allowed back into the England squad, which is so strange. And then, was voted for Sports Personality of the Year 1 year later. So people have really short memories, and
it's mental, isn't it?
People will, as we said, people will bring the Harry Maguire thing up a year later and be like, oh yeah, that thing happened where he tried to bribe people and also was a bit of an arrogant twat and didn't come out well from it at all.
And I think that will be forgotten about in about 2-3 months' time when the season's underway and there's some drama going on and whatever else is going on. We'll be distracted from it, and I guess that's the human nature, just moving on from things and forgetting about them, having short memory and trying to enjoy life in the moment. So all in all, it's just been a bit hectic in footballing terms over the last few days, weeks, and the transfer window is only just pretty much opened up. So you look at it, and I think they're saying that it's the start of October where the transfer window is going to close. So you've got all these clubs like Barcelona that are going to have so much hard work coming up in the next month trying to keep Messi. And you've got other clubs that are going to have so much building to do to be able to compete for their spots, because the Premier League just gets more and more competitive every year. So, and it's like that with every single league, I'm sure. It's just the Premier League's the one that we're in and we're the most interested in. So you look at all these different situations, and it's going to be very interesting this year because we don't know if we're going to have fans, where they've had this trial with the Chelsea Brighton game where they've had socially distancing fans, so everyone was 2 meters apart. It's going to be an interesting season footballing terms over the next year.
And as far as you mentioned, Barcelona, it's going to be really interesting. This transfer window, they need to get this right, otherwise they risk becoming AC Milan, where AC Milan were dominant, or one of the dominant teams in Italy for years and years and years, and then they lost everyone, and they've just never been able to recover since then. And Barcelona risk becoming that team where they have a couple of years where they just can't win anything, and it's just Madrid, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy because I mean we've got the Amazon documentary of Spurs coming out soon. Well, I think
tomorrow.
When this is going to be coming out, it's going to be out already. So we're going to be doing a review on that in the next few weeks at the very latest, really. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see that, because I've been hearing a lot of stories about what Mourinho has been trying to do at Tottenham and who he's been trying to sign. And you got players like Diego Costa, who's potentially going to Tottenham now, which is going to be amazing, I think. Even as a Chelsea fan, he just brings drama, which is, he's not going to get on with Mourinho for long. And I love that Mourinho's trying to build this project that he's been trying to build at both Chelsea and Man United, and it didn't work out, where it was very short term, and it didn't work out. And he's doing the exact same thing at Tottenham from what it seems like now. And it's just like, well, you're just going to run yourselves into the ground in about 2 seasons' time, and you're going to be 10th in the table, and then you're going to be bringing in Pochettino back probably for double the amount that you sacked him for.
That's what I love, is that no matter whether Mourinho is successful or not, he's still going to get a massive payout when he does eventually get sacked. Like, because these contracts are so heavily favoured in favour of these managers, where even if they underperform, they're able to get sacked and get a massive payout of millions and millions of pounds. And that's crazy because they're underperforming. It's like, what?
Yeah. I mean, he's proven, isn't he? He might be past it now, but someone else who might be very good, he's not proven. Whereas Mourinho is very proven to have won European titles and domestic titles, and he's done it all in the top 3 European leagues, isn't he? Italy, Spain, and England. Well, and Portugal, if you want to say Portugal as well. That helps it. So I reckon when he's done with Tottenham, he's going to go over to France or something like that, or the MLS, and then he'll start doing Portugal. But yeah, anyway, we're not here to talk about him. We're here to talk about the transfer. So yeah, with the Tottenham documentary, it's going to be amazing. Yeah, if anyone hasn't heard of it coming out, we'll be doing a review of it. So tune in for next time.
Maybe not this coming Friday, because I don't know how quickly you want to get through it, but definitely within the next week or 2, we can get that out, and that'll be really interesting. Especially to see what happened to them in lockdown and everything, and how they managed the training and things, and what happened with the sacking and then the rehiring of Mourinho during the season.
Well, do you not remember it? They sacked Pochettino on, like, I don't know, say it was a Thursday evening. And then flipping Friday morning at 5 o'clock, Mourinho's hired. Like, I remember driving to work and I got a notification on my phone saying they've hired him. So they've had that go on with Mourinho before they sacked Pochettino,
Yeah.
which is for a coach of such caliber to Tottenham, where he's gone into the chat. I don't get it, but what am I to say? Don't care about Tottenham.
No, we don't. But yeah, I reckon that's a good point for us to leave it on for today. Thank you if you got to this point. If you like this, please like it and share it, so that we can get more people listening to us and hopefully get more people enjoying this kind of content. Yeah.
Thanks for listening, guys, and see you soon.